The final puzzle. My friend Danny and I were always up for a challenge, especially when it came to escape rooms. We tackled every room in the city, priding ourselves on our undefeated streak. So when a new escape room popped up with a reputation of being nearly impossible, we jumped at the chance. It was called The Vault. The theme was simple: escape from a high-security bank vault before time ran out. The online reviews were mixed. Some said it was exhilarating, others claimed it was too intense. But what really caught our attention was the rumor that no one had ever completed it. The building was unassuming, tucked away in a forgotten corner of the city. We arrived late in the evening, greeted by a grizzled man at the front desk. He didn't say much, just handed us a waiver to sign and led us down a dimly lit hallway to a heavy metal door.
"You've got 1 hour,"
he said in a gravelly voice.
"But if you're smart, you'll take the exit if things get too strange."
Danny and I exchanged excited glances. Strange was exactly what we were looking for. The door clanged shut behind us as we stepped into the room. It was dark, with only a faint light illuminating the outlines of steel walls, a few pieces of furniture, and an old-fashioned safe in the corner. The atmosphere was oppressive, the air thick with a metallic scent. First few puzzles were straightforward: codes hidden in paintings, locks requiring keys hidden inside hollowed-out books, that sort of thing. We were making good time, but something about the room felt off. The puzzles were easy, too easy for a room with such a daunting reputation.
"Maybe this is just the warm-up,"
Danny suggested as we cracked another code, unlocking a drawer filled with old coins.
"There's got to be something more challenging coming up."
That's when we found it. The heading compartment. It was Danny who noticed the floorboards near the safe were slightly raised, just enough to be suspicious. We pried one open, revealing a small, dark tunnel leading downward. We hesitated. This wasn't part of any escape room we'd ever seen before, but the thrill of the unknown was too tempting to resist. Armed with our flashlights, we crawled into the tunnel. The passage was narrow, forcing us to move single file. The air grew colder as we descended, a metallic scent stronger. After what felt like an eternity, the tunnel opened into a larger underground chamber. Our flashlights flickered, barely cutting through the thick darkness. The chamber was massive, the walls lined with shelves holding old, crumbling books and strange, rusted artifacts. In the center of the room stood a large stone pedestal, and on it, a thick, ancient-looking book. The air was heavy, almost suffocating. I could feel an unsettling energy radiating from the book.
This isn't part of the game,"
Danny muttered, his voice trembling slightly. I nodded, but my curiosity was overwhelming my sense of caution. I approached the pedestal, drawn to the book. Its cover was made of some kind of dark, leathery material, and the pages were yellowed with age. I hesitated for a moment, then opened it. The text inside was in a language I didn't recognize, the letters twisted and alien. But as I flipped through the pages, images began to form in my mind, flashes of dark rituals, shadowy figures, and something ancient and malevolent stirring beneath the earth.
"Let's get out of here,"
Danny said, his voice tight with fear. But before we could move, the ground beneath us began to tremble. The shelves rattled, and a low rumbling sound filled the chamber, like something massive was shifting deep below. The air grew colder, the metallic scent turning into something more acrid, almost sulfuric. I tried to close the book, but my hands were shaking too much. Then the floor cracked open. A deep fissure split the chamber in two, and from it came a noise that I can only describe as a low, guttural growl. The darkness within the fissure was absolute, like a void that swallowed all light and hope. And from that darkness, something began to emerge. It was enormous, far larger than anything that should have been able to fit within that crack. The creature was a mass of writhing shadows with no distinct form, just a tangle of limbs and faces that seemed to shift and change with every passing second. Its eyes, or what passed for its eyes, glowed with the sickly, unnatural light. Danny screamed, snapping me out of my trance. We turned and ran back through the tunnel, sound of the creature's growl echoing behind us. The walls of the tunnel seemed to close in, the path twisting and turning in ways it hadn't before, as if the tunnel itself was trying to trap us. We stumbled out of the tunnel and back into the escape room, gasping for air. The door we had entered through was gone, replaced by a solid wall. The room was completely dark now, the oppressive atmosphere even more suffocating. There was no way out. We were trapped. The walls began to close in, and the growling noise grew louder, coming from all around us. In the faint light from our dying flashlights, I could see the walls shifting, the shadows moving like they were alive, like they were part of the creature that was now hunting us. And then, the floor started to tremble again. We huddled together, knowing there was no escape, the final puzzle unsolvable. As the walls closed in, the last thing I saw was the creature emerging from the shadows. Its twisted, shifting form, blotting out the light, blotting out everything. The game was over, and we had lost.